podcast, and it's just myself and Stuart this week. We've got no Andy, he's over in Ireland, left us again, and we've got no Kiwi as she's still on holiday. But no, it's just myself and Stuart. This week we're going to be talking about the AFLE as the regular season's come to an end, and how the London Warriors can look forward into the playoffs. We're looking, on our own shows at the playoff football and how and what two teams have confirmed their place in BritBowl in a couple of weeks' time, and also we've got the small matter of a finals weekend as well, Stuart. So, first of all, it's going to be hopefully not too long of an episode, but who knows? Where do you want to start? We've got any news to talk about first? I want to say we have.
We'll start with how mad and busy I am. You'll see that I'm in a hotel room down in Salisbury. So yeah, let's not rush it. So but hey, we'll still the same breakdown, same information, and look forward to, as you said, a busy weekend of finals. We've got under 16s this weekend, and the Division 1, Division 2 bowl games are back. I'm sure there's 4 teams that are extremely excited about that. So yeah, we'll cover that as well.
And one that's majorly disappointed not to be there, but we won't talk about that. So yeah, we'll just kickstart this and go straight into the AFLE. And this week it was kind of a different.
Yeah, like I don't know whether we've lost you or whether you've lost me, but I'll pick up the duties. No.
Yeah, go for it. We're back. We're gone. Who knows? We've got Wi-Fi troubles this week.
Honestly, both of us hotspotted. It's great. I don't know whether you managed to catch this, but I watched most of this game. The Warriors have got some heck of a momentum going into the semi-finals this weekend. Because I was just flicking through the stats on the AF website, and I can't figure out how one key kicked off. It was mid fourth quarter, and I think that's where Ryan kind of capitalised on it. But other than that, they pretty much dominated the first half, but without 3:20 time to London. But I shared the stat in a group chat, and London were pretty much double what Ryan had done on the ground. Double the key if you want to win 4 matches. But yeah, I just don't know how this one slipped through their hands. And I think they'll be looking at it, from the same angle, going, how did this get away? But they'll also take it into this weekend. So Vienna Vikings, I know you've got the semi-final on the next slide coming up, but yeah, I think they'll really take the momentum that they've got from this game. Teals, I must say, I did quite like their Carolina Panther-esque attire, and I'm sure Kiwi did too. But yeah, hopefully they'll take that momentum going into what is billed as an extreme risk for them. But with that performance on the board, and to be fair, that five win streak they had going into the back end of the season, that's really got them this playoff berth. I think they can look at this going, it's not all doom and gloom. It's not like they're going into this game. I think there are big cracks in the clouds that are formed, certainly over our shores this weekend, and they'll travel to Vienna going, you know what, we might just have this.
Yeah, exactly that. And they've already played to have such a good performance against the number 1 seed on the other side of the bracket. It does kind of bode well for the Warriors, and hopefully this weekend when they come up against the Vienna Vikings, they can really put a good performance in. And who knows? It's why we love the sport, and anything can happen. So anything can happen here. But realistically, there was no surprises in the British American football playoffs from this weekend, was there? Really, we saw on Saturday we saw the Manchester Titans get a close victory against the Blitz, a 21-20 victory, meaning the Manchester Titans will play against the Bristol Aztecs, who beat the Coventry Phoenix 45-7 in BritBowl in Coventry at the Nick Newbold Stadium. I remembered it. I'll tell you,
well remembered.
Exactly. exactly. So we'll look into that Manchester Titans game first. It was a very different Titans game to what we've seen all season, where, for those who didn't watch it, the Blitz were winning for the majority, or winning, or definitely. It, it was strange. We normally see the Manchester Titans dominate teams, and we didn't see that this weekend, did we?
No, like we normally see a really clinical and a really clean Manchester Titans team who drive the length of the field, punch in. We've seen as for the last, I don't know, 4 or 5 years maybe. They just didn't seem to be able to finish. Like, I don't know whether that was them executing up to their standard. That was the Blitz come in and give it a damn good go. But yeah, like I was in and out of this match, in all honesty. And the first half, if memory serves, and the third quarter, the Blitz pulled it back. I think it was 15 potentially. That might be wrong. Quote me on that. Don't clip me on that. But yeah, the Titans, it's good. Hardest to remember it all. An extra 24 hours. But yeah, like the Blitz came and they gave the Titans a heck of a good go, and they kind of restricted. I think a lot of people might have undersold the Blitz this season in terms of that number 2 team, and I think they came and gave a really good go. And had it not been for some interesting clock management, I'll phrase it, because the Blitz would just got inside the Titans' half. For those that hadn't watched, they probably got within the ball, because I think the Blitz have a United kicking kicker making field goals to rival Lenkowski on the other side of the pitch. Apologies, I didn't catch the Blitz's kicker's name. Maybe somebody on Instagram or something can pop up in the chat. I saw that he'd collaborated and tagged you, Nick, who are sort of friends of the podcast as well. So we'll give them a shout out at least. But yeah, they kind of got into the Manchester Titans within field goal, and they a couple of incomplete passes. It was inside the 2, one outs. I went for an outside zone play outside, and the just couldn't get out of out. Like, yeah, they tried to, and almost in formation. Yeah, you saw the referees blow it dead, and also point in a bit of a nail biter, which we'll probably cover in the Bristol game, which the Titans game was reasonably well attended, and also big shout outs to the massive Titans that was painted on the halfway line at Bellevue. That was a delightful touch that I loved, having marked out near field. So yeah, it's nice to see the Titans continuing to develop alongside all of their, are also painting a pretty picture in the middle of their field.
Yeah, and I think it works well for them advertising wise, because it's that Bellevue Stadium has hosted world championship events, in if you're into speedway like I am, but it's good to have that kind of just a sign, and people go, oh, what's that? But no, like you say, it's good to see, and yeah, it's just the clock management of it. If there was an extra 2 seconds on the clock, we could be seeing a very different scoreline here, and a game we've already seen twice already this season. But instead, we get a rematch of the semi-final from last year, I believe. I want to say potentially,
and
or at least a couple of years ago. Yeah, and probably the year before that as well. Who knows? But definitely, like this. We'll go on to the Bristol Aztecs game, because that first quarter was messy from the Aztecs. It were a bit like the Titans. It was Aztec like. It were they went a touchdown up early. Then I want to say they went 10-0 up, and then a punt from the Coventry Phoenix that again got muffed, and it brought the Phoenix right back in it. Yes, at the end of the day, the Bristol Sticks did what they always do best, but that first quarter showed a little bit of something that teams like the Titans can probably look at exploiting. It's definitely something that the coaching staff at the Aztecs will not want to to see much more of, and definitely what I expect. But what was your take on that game, Stuart?
I think both games and both scores show just how indifferent scout film can be. You can scout for everything that you see on film, but then when you see the athlete, the speed is different, the ability is different, tendencies are different. You get football games like these, so that scout out the window. So I think we saw a little bit of that. I think we saw a bit of, both Coventry and Bristol bringing out some new stuff that either team hadn't seen before. Scored on a relatively new play as well, with the sort of the backside slot receiver catching a pass rather than Brees or Sean or whatever running back they want to put in carries. That was an interesting wrinkle. I think we had really interesting games, but that second half, Bristol did what they have done all season, and they just dominated a different beat. And yeah, I think with the crowd of 1,400 people at Shaftesbury Park, and I mentioned the Titans having a decent crowd. 1,500, it's phenomenal. I know it's had lots of advertisement, worked really hard to get those people in.
I think it was more than that. I do think it was more than that. I think.
Well,
because it'll be
14, 50.
Keep going as I keep having a look.
But,
14. Oh yeah, 14.
I will.
14. 1456. Well done. I thought it was more 2000.
1456. No. No. And if both of those teams can bring that sort of flowing to Coventry, can you imagine the atmosphere on that Sunday afternoon?
Yeah.
In potentially that, it probably won't be the best attended BritBowl full stop, but it'll be one of the better ones that I've been. But yeah, Bristol were just dominant, both in the run game and then in the pass game. They obviously got AJ Carr back, the GB flag wide receiver. He caught a couple. I think East, the receiver, caught another couple. And then the stable of running backs. Even Bailey got in for a touchdown. He, quarter athlete, I think they called him dream commentary. But yes, he managed to get himself in for a touchdown, which was nice to see. So yeah, again, spreading the wealth, 45 points. Just let's see the tight line. I might keep hold of that, analyze it some more, and cover that next week as we go into finals.
Let's save that for next week. After. Let's save that for next week when we look ahead. Well, we look back on the 4 finals this we've got this weekend, and it all kicks off. Which one should we do first? Should we do the 16s or the Sunday games first?
Should we go chronological? Should we go 16s on Saturday?
Yeah, we'll go play it first. Don't know how it's going to go in the day, but we'll go play it first because that's how it used to be when I played the play with first. We see the Battle of the Knights. We've got Edinburgh Napier against Northants, who had to come out of that tricky Southern final, even though they're in the strange. They're in the Midlands one, but then there was the most Southern Midlands team that came out of it. Then they had to go into the South and held their own quite well. And they've subsequently got into the play. And then we've got the Kent Exiles against the Birmingham Lions. It's going to be an interesting one this weekend because I think we always say this, that we always think the Scottish team's going to do well because we see the numbers that they put up on other teams up north of the border. But again, it's a tough one to call because apart from Northants against Birmingham, these are all new teams that haven't played against each other before. So it's really an interesting one to call. But what do you think heading into this weekend?
Around it, I think these are two really interesting ties. Goodiness of where the Nance Knights have come. It's confusing, but they've built both quietly and sort of quietly the beginning of the season, and then they've done towards the back end of the season. And I think they will be really competitive in this plate tournament. I think it's just a Knights derby in that first game. I'd have quite liked to have seen that be in the plate final. But that's not just Kent Birmingham. That's more of a personal feel. I think that is also going to be a really close semi-final. The playoff tournaments. Kent, average points against 32.5, Birmingham 30. Both teams scoring around 50, conceding around 60. So both of the semi-finals are going to be really, really close, really tight to call. And is that BAFA are streaming both of the plate and the national final. So whichever one of these gets through, the final will be live streamed, and we'll share that as soon as we've got the link on Saturday. I can share that. You can hopefully pick it up and share it. But yeah, really looking forward to this. This is something that is, really, really going to test the coaches, test the players. I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a surprise to whoever we really get to win this, because either one of these sides can go on and win the play. But again, it's all about the moments. It was last year where Manchester Titans and they catch the touchdown in the last second of the game and they win it. It literally can go down to the last second. But we're going to look forward to the finals itself. This is a bit more interesting, isn't it? We've got the Titans, they take on the Rushmore Knights in the semi-final, and then Solent take on the Yorkshire Academy Assassins. Now, I'm a little bit biased. I don't hide that. But it's definitely going to be a tough test for the Assassins. One thing it's going to be a test for Solent is the travel itself. I think that's going to be a big factor in it, to travel from Southampton all the way up to Stafford. When you look at the Manchester Titans and the Yorkshire Academy, it's probably an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours max. Whereas for your Rushmore and Solent, it's a fair old journey. And for under 16s, where it's travel with all the family as well, it's a fair old slog. But again, I think we're in for another incredible set of semi-finals, and in that final as well I think this one's too close to call, a bit like the plate as well, isn't it? Because yeah, we can get homework on the Titans and the Assassins because they've played each other twice already this year. But for the rest of the teams, scouting in U16s is possibly one of the hardest things to do, isn't it? Because there's not much tape that probably gets filmed, and it's harder to even share it with each other, because of other complications. But it's just going to be interesting to see what kind of happens within these 3 games, isn't it?
It is. Again, it is. There are a couple of key figures that stand out to me. Your slight northern bias. I hope. Both of the southern teams, Rushmore only conceded 12 points in the tournament, the playoff tournament, and Solent only conceded 6, whereas Yorkshire and Manchester conceded plus. Again, sort of looking back at the regular season, the Titans conceded 44, Yorkshire conceded 28, so they were a little bit more in Regson. And you mentioned that sort of battle that we've seen between Manchester and Yorkshire already, obviously with the Manchester Titans coming out on top of that one. But yeah, Solent, they conceded a few more this season. They conceded 40, but they did score more. They scored 290. That Titans offense was fierce through the regular season. They scored 351. I think I kind of want to put my neck on the line and say that stats kind of drive us towards a Titans versus final. I'm sure that Rushmore and Yorkshire will have something to say about that. You mentioned the travel as well. Fortunately enough, so I wonder how many of these guys, one person actually on Instagram just put their travel in more. That doesn't surprise me. That would, the smart move. Hopefully that's affordable. We've already mentioned several times in previous pods about the charge that BAFA have put on tickets for families to get in, and people to go and watch, which go back and watch the last couple of podcasts, the very early stages. We've covered that in advance. You can get your tickets now, so go and buy online, but you have to have a ticket to get in. The one in has sent us a couple of eyes that he'd like us to shout out, and we really don't mind doing that. The first one was that huge 4 or 5 turnovers in games gone past, and he also wanted us to shout out their QB number 11. If I pronounce that right, hopefully chat, as he's really been a huge driving part of the rest of their offense this year, and he says 100% deserves his flowers. So although I can't give you flowers, that'd be slightly weird, hopefully you'll get a medal at the end of it on Saturday. Evan and James and the rest of the Solent team. We've seen how well their under-19s team have done this season. We know what a powerhouse the Solent mixed adult contact team have been, winning it all last season. So yeah, certainly that South Coast, not too far from where I am at the moment, to be fair. The South Coast program are doing something really, really well down there. So yeah, I kind of see both of those top teams making the final. Interesting to see, again, live streamed, how that game goes, and we'll give that link a share as well.
Yeah, like Stuart says, keep an eye on our socials, and we'll share the link as soon as we've got it for both of the finals on Saturday. On to Sunday then, and the first game we've got on the Sunday is the Div 2 Bowl. It's not got a fancy name like the Bucks one, has it? Where it's like the conference. No. The Division 2 final bowl game. We see the Lancashire Buccaneers, they take on the Ipswich Cardinals. This is going to be a game of a side in Ipswich that their offense has been able to score at will all season long. The only difficulty that they've had is that game against Plymouth, against the side in the Lancashire Buccaneers that don't concede many points, if any at all. It's that unstoppable force, immovable object kind of battle, isn't it? Going to this weekend, gutted when I'm not there. I'll be honest, but definitely it's going to be a. Thanks, Stuart. But it's going to be one of them games that it's again going to come down to them moments in like what most finals do, and in which team can kind of find little bits in the other, and also numbers, because yes, it's the end of the school holidays, but people still going on holiday. What are the numbers for both sides going to be like? How are both sides going to travel? All sorts of different questions. But Stuart, what are your takes on this game?
I think this is going down to the Cardinals' defense. If they can be as stingy as they have been across the regular season, and they only conceded across their games, which is less than a touchdown a game. If they can keep that up, win this game, irrespective of how well their offense plays, we know what their offense can do. Feeling that the uni quarterback season, name fails me. His name is completely gone out of my head. You'll have let me know in several chats, and I should books post as well. But Haylock potentially. And also sorry, Tebs, because I know you're in Innsbruck, but you'll probably be shouting his name at the screen at the moment. After a couple, he scored 270 points, which is 34 average a game. Difficult to look past, but obviously the Buccaneers upsetting they a couple of weeks ago. They ground out their beaten as well, so it's 2 unbeaten teams. The only blemish is that tie that the Buccaneers have on their record, and they've conceded. It's comparable. I've just deleted that box. On average, 9 points a game. So, it's going to be close. But for me, it'll be that Ipswich defense, and hope that gold medal and we don't know. We're not going to promotion, whatever, because we don't know how leagues are going to align. But yeah, we'll see what happens. And maybe with me being there on Sunday, we can get the down on what's going to happen.
Yeah, and one thing I'll say about the Buccaneers that they're very good at is adaptability. You know, in the start of the second half in our game, you know, we went 2 scores up, and it looked like that was just a one-way traffic. Then all of a sudden, they were just able to stop whatever we were doing, and we had to find other ways that weren't as effective. And they had the ability to, no matter what, just to adapt to all different situations. So I think that, you know, if they can stop Ipswich a couple of times and make Ipswich have to change their offensive style, something that they've not had to do all season because of how well they've been playing, it's gonna send a bit of a shock to the system. And you know, I think this is more going to be like a chess match where it's just the coaches going off against each other and the players are a bit more of the pieces. But
Yeah.
we just have to wait and see what happens on Sunday. I believe I want to say it's definitely the 30th. So yeah, it's definitely Sunday. Yeah, and then on Instagram we've got a couple of questions. So are all places? I'll ask them, and then you can answer them because you know the answers. Are all finals taking place on Sunday?
But the scenes, everything takes place on Saturday. So I did have a look at it.
Yeah.
The final played third, with the final being streamed, and then national final being live streamed. That contact, both games are on Sunday. Yes, don't know what kickoffs are. We'll confirm that when we.
And the second question was who is winning the final? And U16s, we don't normally do predictions, Stuart, but are we feeling a bit risky?
Depends which final James is talking about, because we do the finals for the U16s, so that's a bit gay.
Well,
and if we want to do mixed out contact,
you can have a stab. I mean, U16 finals. I hope it's Yorkshire, but I can see possibly Manchester winning it. So if it's not Yorkshire, then hopefully another northern side could win it. And in the play, Northants. I don't know why. I just quite like them. I just think they're a bit, you know, a bit different. They had to go through the south.
You've got full underdog, haven't you?
Yeah. How about you, Stuart? Who do you think is going to win there? Yeah. What do you think?
Plate. I want Knights. I don't know why. Okay. I think it's going to be really tight between all four. I know Kent have a really good outfit as well. I'm going to stick with my gut. Let's go Napier Knights. I think Solent.
Oh,
I thought long and hard about it. I doubt about Rushmore. The other side of my tongue, but no, I'm going to go Solent.
And then in Div 2, who do you think is going between Lancashire and Ipswich?
I think them up too much, didn't I? Yeah.
Yeah.
I can see Bucks winning it. Don't get me wrong. I can see Lancashire Bucks winning it before they sort of clip me and put them on the socials and everything else like that. I can see them winning it. It won't be a surprise. I think both teams go into this with a fantastic chance. I just see Ipswich winning it, in all honesty.
Yeah, and just because my team isn't there, I kind of hope that the Lancashire Buccaneers do win, and at least we lost to the winners. Do you know what I mean? At least we got a little bit of something still there. Yeah, it's the best way to be, isn't it? But we've got one more final left of the weekend, and it's possibly, in my opinion, the most entertaining one. We've got the Newcastle Vikings against the East Kent Mavericks. Now, let me just cast your mind back to 4 weeks ago. We didn't think the East Kent Mavericks would possibly get past the Hertford Cheaters. we thought after they lost to the Olympians, and all of a sudden the seeds are going to have to change, and who knows? we didn't think we were going to get past. Well, we thought they probably would, but it was going to be a tougher test than what their 50-66 victory ended up being. And then against the Saints, we're thinking, oh, the Saints, they could do it. They are the team that, they go all the way and go from Div 2 to the Prem in 2 seasons, and the Eastgate Mavericks handled them quite well. And then they have to host the Olympians. I can't remember if that's a host or a away game, either or. I can't remember. And I thought the Olympians beat them last time. They know how to do it. They got the blueprint on how to do it. But the Eastgate Mavericks just keep on going and get there. We say promotion. We don't know how it's all going to work, but in old money, promotion into the Prem after years of trying, and now they're in the final against the Newcastle Vikings, who themselves, had a tough game against the Glasgow Tigers, and then an overtime win against the Yorkshire Rams. It's two teams that know how to win in important moments, isn't it? And I think that's going to probably carry both teams to the last. And this could be one of the most entertaining games of the entire week, if not the season.
Yeah, no, I agree with everything you've just said, to be really honest. And yeah, again, really looking forward to it. As far as I'm aware, we'll share live links as soon as we can with those. So we might bring you some reels and stuff like that if I get a chance. I'm not going on IBB duty. For those that don't know, I also help out with the events team for BAFA. So I will be on BAFA duty, not IBB duty. I will certainly do what I can to cover as well. And yeah, this is going to be fantastic. It's certainly going to be high scoring if you look at the scores that those guys have put up at the playoffs. Vikings 24, East Kent 56, East Kent 31, East Kent 30. Give me the over-under set at 50. And I think I'll probably go over, give it me set at 60. That's when I'm starting to have to really consider life decisions. I'm not a betting mammal, but yeah, that would be my cut-off point or my sort of line in the sand, really. What would be my keys to this? I think it's which Newcastle team turns up. Is it the Newcastle season that kind of came out and steamrolled? And some people were like, oh yeah, they're winning because it's like slightly poorer opponents. Or is it the Vikings team that have done is it the Vikings team that have done the business over that sort of quarterfinal and semi-final and ground out results? Or the East Kent Mavericks offense just continue to do business? Obviously, the Lions managed to stop them in that sort of season game, but can that Vikings defense really sort of look to shut down that Mavs offense? I think the Mavs come away with it if we're making our predictions about come away with it. But yeah, it's going to be one score, 10 points max between the teams, I think.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a close one. It's like, it's hard to say who's going to win. I do think that Newcastle will, and I'm not doing that just to go different, but I do think the Newcastle Vikings might win this. I think, with the coaching experience they've had, especially in Bucks, where they've, with the Durham Saints, and they were using Durham pitch last week, and whether that helped them or not, who knows? But definitely, I think it's something that is going to be interesting to see how it all plays out. But no, definitely, I think, yeah, I can't wait for this one personally. I will be watching it on the live stream, and I think it's going to be an incredible game to watch. So yeah, as soon as we get the links for all of these games, because all of the finals this week are being live streamed, so as soon as we get the link, we'll put them all on across our socials and let people know. Stuart, we've got one bit of news before we go. The London Guard, who we told you about a couple of weeks ago, they have hired their head coach, Andrew Weidinger, I want to say.
Something
Weidinger,
like that. They've not given us a phonetic. They've not. Go on, carry on.
Yeah, so he joined. He was the Madrid Bravos head coach. He's had multiple experiences in the NFL with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Atlanta Falcons as well. It's going to be interesting. Just looking at this thing, he's got a Southern Conference title with the Barcelona Dragons, ELF Assistant Head Coach of the Year honours, and back-to-back EFL Championship with Rheinfire in 2023 and 2024. And then most recently, he was the head coach of the Madrid Bravos as well before they ceased to exist now. But it seems like a great hire for the guard, and something that they can definitely build on, and someone that knows how to build a program as well.
Yeah, I mean, they've only really been around for a few weeks, but I think they've given themselves a really good foundation to build from. Obviously, they've got their GM involved, who's been around the league a little bit. He's been at a couple of league events as well. I think with his sort of support and his name and his backing, and then yes, this head coach coming in with a plethora of, obviously was particularly surprised when the Warriors continued with their British contingent. This just gives a slightly different angle to the London football team. People are going, how are the? But yeah, I think the knowledge that the program has already within the European landscape, I think they're going to draw from a slight talent pool. Again, they still have to have some homegrown talent. I know about the facts and the figures, and when we get more information about them, I'll dig them back out and share them. But this guy was, breaking it down to the number of imports each team has to have in each league. And I think in the end, he deduced that you have to have across organization, there will have to be something between 50 and 60 homegrown players. And they were saying, well,
wow.
How successful do we think that is going to be? And also affect the British domestic game as well. If we're losing 50 to 70 of our players, obviously we won't, because the Warriors already those players involved in their organisation. Keeping another, let's say, 30 players, they're going to have to come from one of the national teams, aren't they? Domestic teams is probably a better way of phrasing, but yeah, which domestic team can pull from what finance from the likes of Manchester, Newcastle, and them, pay them, whatever. All remains to be seen. We don't know an awful lot about the EFA. We have a couple of friends of the show that do. Closer to the time, we might want them to come on and help us
explain
out and break it down. Get an EFA and an AFLE person on the same podcast, and we'll be ringmasters, and we'll let them fight it out.
Yeah, but we also got the news. This is a few days ago now, that they were going to be playing at Leyton Orient at Brisbane Road. We knew that already. We kind of knew that they had links, but it wasn't official. And now it has been made official that they will be playing at the BetRite Stadium, or Brisbane Road, as more football fans will know it. But apart from that, have we got any news? I don't think we.
Don't think so. No, not that I can think of.
No, I don't think so. So yeah, this weekend, as we've said throughout, all the live streams, we'll put the links up onto our socials before it happens, so you can watch them. Let us know who you think's going to win in comments, and we'll see you all next week when we review these 4 finals and we look